So, folks, we've got Gabriel Maldonado in the house, and there's something that we need to bring to everybody's attention today, right? Because Gabriel, he's only in Austin part-time, but he's deeply embedded into the space, well connected, and he's bringing a lot of the energy from here into something new, something in, of all cities, Tulum, Mexico.
I love that Tulum, Mexico part.
Doesn't it sound good?
Just good.
It's where the water is as blue as Gabriel's eyes.
These things right here.
Ding.
Growing myself. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
So what we got to talk about today is your mission, your initiative. What do you have going on right now? And we're going to break it down. We want to give people a realistic insight of what it's like to do what you do. And then talk about where you're ultimately going to go. So what do you have going on right now?
Right now, I'm on this amazing podcast with a new and dear friend, Mr. Greg Carlson.
Oh, yeah, you're not kidding. You are.
He's elite.
Yes, you are. Oh, thank you.
I'm elite.
Likewise. It's true.
And what I've been doing is just, I moved to Austin with, this place is just such a magnet of awesome, epic human beings. And cut the part.
So in a podcast, there's only one rule, is that you just got to talk. Yeah, so.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So what I came here because of a medicine journey.
What does that mean?
Bufo.
You came here because of that?
That and just other people just kept saying, where are you living right now? And I was in Miami. Wasn't really happy there. I like the vibe of Miami, but it's more of a Vegas.
Sure.
Go there, do the thing, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I met some people. I was like, I'm kind of stuck between living in Salt Lake, Denver, or Austin. And as soon as I said Austin, people were like, Austin's your place. And I just kept meeting people from Austin. Awesome human beings. So decided to come here, and it's been an epic journey getting here. I left Connecticut right before Burning Man with the intention of packing my Jeep up and figuring it out. And then at Burning Man, I made the decision I'm moving to Austin.
Dang.
I had Aubrey Marcus in our camp. He lives here, and I met his team, made friends with them. They're awesome people. And yeah, just...
It wasn't Jake, what's his name? Was in your party.
Yeah, Jake Paul.
Jake Paul's in your party.
Super nice guy.
Right.
Very not how he's portrayed in social media.
Yeah, tame.
Yeah, just super chill, cool guy. But when I got here, the goal was to infiltrate the Austinites.
Sure.
The elites. Because I wanted to do what my mom always told me. If you want to be successful, hang around successful people.
It's true.
But it's shifted over the years that I want to hang out with heart-centered, successful people. People that are doing good in the world. People that are elevating and not just hoarding and just taking all the power for themselves, but spreading that power and love to everybody else in whatever way that may be. So while I've been here, I've been seeing clients. I have a healing work that I use a sound bed with biohacking techniques coupled with mindfulness practices, meditation, Reiki, energy work, and coaching. And it's been interesting because it's getting really popular.
Yeah.
But it's coming at an interesting time because I got this place in Tulum that kind of came out of left field. Something that I've been working on for with a buddy. We've just been talking about it for the last year. And I met him at Burning Man as well in my camp. And it's happening. Or it's happened.
It's happened.
New Year's Eve, he moved in and called me and said, we got the place.
Let me just touch upon that a little bit. I want to break that down in my lens here. So you moved from Miami to here. It took a little bit, but it was like the universe kind of was saying, Austin. You got here, and you're making your money. Your 9 to 5, we'll say, is you're helping people heal. You got your sound bed. You're doing.
Let me pause you there.
Yeah.
So I'm working with a stem cell company called Odin. Another guy that I met at Burning Man, Nico, who was recently on your podcast.
Yeah.
And he gave me my 9 to 5, helping them with that. And then on the side, I was growing my brand here.
Yeah, with your practice. Okay. Okay, very good. So it looks like you kind of caught your hands in a couple different jars, right? And it looks like one of those things panned out the way you foresaw it to pan out, right? Now, of course, you're still doing the other two things. Um, and yet, the one that's going to ultimately bring you to your highest purpose is calling on you now and saying, I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
And it came so fast within a year from the time you're talking about it, from the time it's actually alive, within 1 year. So, okay, we got to teach a class on this, okay? Because how did you do it? How the heck do you say, okay, I got my healing practice. I'm also going to help a stem cell company from a man I met at Burning Man. I want to help him out. And then all of a sudden, this just comes up. You're doing so much. You're networking in Austin. How does this happen?
I got out of my own fucking way.
What are you talking about?
I have a lot of old stories, a lot of if I make this, I'm good enough, which was very limiting. And the if was like 150K. That was like the number I was shooting for.
Oh, yeah, just pick the number. Sure.
Because in my mind and where I grew up and, I'm first generation here, that would be a feat. That would be great in my family.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, very limiting. And then I needed to get out of my own way of getting out of hanging out with the same people. Like, how are you supposed to get to that 150K or more if you're not hanging out with people that are doing that?
Right.
Right. I'm shooting for something that I have no idea what that vibration and frequency and that feeling is like. And that's where I got lucky with my Burning Man camp. And it was actually in Miami that I went to an event called Aurea that we're having here in Austin. And that event changed my life. It put me on a whole new trajectory path. That's where I met my future Burning Man camp leader, Gerald. He invited me to his workshop in Salt Lake City. I fell in love with Salt Lake City, the nature, the people. And then I just kept meeting, once again, people from Austin, but high-level people. And people that were, entrepreneurs, that are successful, that are working on themselves to get to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say, and what I'm also picturing, is you operating out of flow. You're, in a sense, going with the flow. And yet, you're also specific. So it's a combination of both, right? You're trusting your gut. You're listening to what the universe is saying to you, Austin, Austin, Austin. And then, yet, you're still adding precision where it's necessary, such as the type of people that you're investing in. Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. The type of people I'm investing in, the ones that are reinvesting because they see my potential. They see my value. They see where I couldn't see myself yet.
Right.
And it was through all those workshops, meditation, plant medicine ceremonies. Yes, those had a crucial factor, but it was also books. We were just talking about books before this, and I didn't read as much. And my buddy gave me an access to his Audible library, which had a plethora of books that I'm looking at right now, and a lot of them are in that library. And that just shifted my perspective on money, on relationships, on myself, on people, on so many various factors.
Nico, let me ask you, why do I call you Nico? Okay, because we were just talking about Nico. Son of a gun, Gabriel. Oh, God. It's great. So, Gabriel, what is it that you ultimately want out of life? I ask this to my guests sometimes.
So, going now, that's a great question because it segues into Tulum. I want, with my business partner, Pato, and anybody else that comes on board, to create community where people can find themselves in whatever aspect and invite people that have the means. Let's say we'll give it a 20 people to come. 10 people that are doing well in life, but maybe they might have all the money, but they don't have heart or as much heart or self-love. for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so 10 of those types, and then 10 people that have the opposite. They have something to offer. They don't know how to network. They have a lot of self-love, but they just don't know where to find the people that I've worked my way into their circles and put them in a 4 to 6 week program where they can work on themselves, mastermind, work together, kind of like Burning Man meets boot camp meets retreat meets co-working, co-living.
Dang.
And then leave with family
Yeah.
that really knows them, that has grinded out with them every day. You know, you did boot camp, and like the relationships you built,
It's fantastic.
I built in Marines, like people that I still talk to today that we know, like, man, we went through the shit together. We got each other's backs. I see you as you are, and I see the value you bring to the world, and how can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's one of the things that I want to have at this space. And it's going to be my place to experiment on myself, but on others that come in with different biohacking tools, different teachers, different speakers and educators, mentors, and help people figure out their blueprint to success.
So let's get clarity on one thing. What do you call yourself in a professional sense?
It's a good question.
I know.
I
I
mean,
know, because you're a man of many hats.
people call me a connector and a healer, and I'd ultimately want to be a mentor and guide to help veterans, men, women, whoever really resonates with what I have to say and my story, to help them get to their next level.
Now, you weren't always like this. You weren't always out to have other people's best interests at heart, because to my understanding, there was a time in your life to where you could barely were trying to just help yourself in any way you could, right?
Yeah.
You were at the pits, so to speak. So what ultimately causes that shift to get you out of that?
My best friend, Todd.
Tell me about Todd.
Todd, I've met him after I got out of the Marines. I went back home to Connecticut. Felt like, man, I'm just going backwards in my mind. And three blizzards happened back to back, and I was like, fuck this. I'm going back to Arizona. Moved back there. Became a Lyft driver when Lyft was first starting out. Todd and I were one of the originals, the OGs of that. And I met him through a driver meetup.
Yeah.
And he was just different. Like he meditated. He had done the work himself. I mean, on podcasts, he has talked about how he had cancer twice and how he beat it the second time with ayahuasca meditation and just addressing the internal demons that he had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I had a lot of internal demons, and I know a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I was just so afraid to address that part of myself that when I finally did, as scary as it was, it's brought me here to this moment where I get to stay fired up with my buddy Greg Carls.
Yeah. Well said. So what I'm hearing you say is that you didn't get out of it alone.
No.
Somebody helped you out.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a powerful thing to remember. Well, number one is that we're never alone. Truly. We're never. You can go for a walk in the woods with no other people around, and yet you're not alone. Think about that. Try it. Secondly, did you ask him for help?
No, he called me at the most divine moment you can ask for. Like, God was like to Todd in meditation. He told me, he's like, we hadn't talked in a while, but we had one of those friendships where you don't need to talk all the time.
Yeah.
And you just can pick up right where you left off.
Good.
So I was working for a drone company, miserable. I was like one of their top sales guys, and I hated going to work. And the company just was doing some shady things I didn't like, but I needed the money, so I stayed there miserable. And he calls me and he's like, hey, I have an opportunity. We can build this tech company, but I want you to co-own it with me, which, In my mind, I'm like, I'm just a worker. Even though I have big dreams, aspirations, like I see how to solve problems easily. Not easily, because, it takes work to solve those problems, but I see the path forward.
Hmm.
And he knew that. And he coined me gift of Gab, because of just my ability to just meet and connect with people.
Yes.
And he saw in me what I didn't see yet, but he had seen it a couple years prior when we were working together at another company. He was president at that I was just a sales guy at. But he saw something in me that I didn't see. So he calls me, gives me that, and then I help him raise money, reach out to friends that I knew, and they trusted us and gave us the money that we needed to get down to Florida, which ended up bringing me to Miami. And it was Todd really that put me on this trajectory, which introduced me to Jackson and Aria, which then it was just like, I look back and I was like, everything was just perfect. Everything, every choice that I thought I had fucked up in or made poorly was the right decision in a way. Well, if it wasn't for all that stuff, like if I would have been able to do special forces and if I would have not gotten hurt and I would have been able to do MARSOC, who knows where I would be. I don't even know if I'd be alive, because when you're going into the shit,
Sure.
there's an opportunity at all moments for death. Right. And a part of me wanted that, because I had thought suicide a few times in my life. I was just real victim mentality, and it took somebody else to say no. And he introduced me to meditation, breath work, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins, and Jay Shetty, and just a bunch of amazing books, like I said, and people to then shift my state of mentality.
So what was your internal dialogue before and after? What kind of thoughts would go in your mind? And then what after the shift? What do you tell yourself now?
Yeah, before, I came out of before the shift, I was such an asshole. I was angry at life. I was a victim. I was, woe is me. I deserve this because I'm a Marine. This whole like, I'm better than you. I'm better than everybody. Why isn't life happening to me? And then the big shift was life's happening for me at all times. God has a plan. I just got to quiet my mind as best as I can and just trust in the process.
So you brought up one of your innate gifts, your innate talents, okay, that Todd had seen in you a long, long time ago. And that's your ability to talk with people, to connect with people, and connect people to other people. Now, how are you being more intentional now that you're aware of that gift? How are you accentuating that gift?
Yeah, great question. And before the shift, I would just give my time and energy to everyone, which put me in some bad situations financially, emotionally, mentally. After the shift, is this right for me? And is this right for them? It's like a two-way road of, am I going to be helping? Am I really going to be helping them, or do they have good intentions, or are they just using me? Because a lot of people were using me in the past because I just was so giving of my time and energy, and then it would just put me in such a bad mental state because I'm like, oh man, I connected these two people, they created something amazing, and then I just kind of got forgot about, which then goes back to victim mentality.
Yeah, and there's an old adage that I learned a long, long time ago. If you let people put their hands in your pockets, they will. And that goes not just with your finances, but with your time, which is a resource, and your energy. And we've got to be mindful of that. We've got to be extremely specific and calculated on who we're investing those resources in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And at the same time, it's extremely important to not expect things in return. Right?
Right.
sometimes it does make sense to expect things in return. It does. You can't just work for free all the freaking time. Right? It makes
Which is
zero
what I was
sense.
doing. Yeah.
Right. So it's like a constant pendulum. It's always swinging.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a balancing act because it's very black and white. It's just a swinging pendulum. We need to be aware of as self-masters. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get fired up about the freaking Tulum thing, baby. Let's go. So when are you guys opening up for biz? What's up with that?
We're officially open. We can host. I mean, we took over an existing business. It's Dharma Sian Kaan. That's the name of the place we took over, and it just needs some love. You know, we're raising some capital right now just to at least get the bare minimum stuff done.
Yeah.
Which shout out to my mom. She's our first investor.
Sweet.
Thanks, Mom. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, we can host up to 16 people right now with the goal of going to 40 to 50 people by April. So April is going to be like our official opening of people outside of our community.
Yeah.
So right now we're just inviting friends, family, and the community that we've Pato myself have co-created, and just inviting people to come check it out. We're not going to charge a lot because we just want people to come and give us feedback. We want people to experience the place, feel it, and us also feel how the flow of everything's going to go. So, and April's a great month to officially launch because that's my birthday. My birthday's in April, and a lot of cool things are happening in April. So,
yeah.
And for me, in my opinion, that's really when the new year starts because that's when winter really ends and things start to grow. Nature comes back to life. And
that's deep, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I never thought of it like that. That's good.
But yeah, April is gonna be it, and I'm super excited. We're not a retreat center. We're a place to come have an experience of whatever you desire that isn't gonna hurt you or hurt anybody else. So outside of that, come play. Like if you want to do plant medicine there, cool, come down. If you want to do my getaway experience and work on yourself for 4 to 6 weeks, come down. If you want to just invite some girlfriends or have a guy's getaway, come down. Corporate events.
How do they find it?
They will be able to find it online once I've finished all the branding and everything with my team. But
yeah.
Right now, it's dharmasiankaan.com. I'll send you the link.
How in the world do you spell that?
DHARMA.
Yeah, I got that.
SIAN and then KAAN. Con.
Oh my God.
.com.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Yeah. Easy. Easy. Okay. So what we're gonna watch? We're gonna have you come back on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when. It's gonna make sense though because the timing is gonna be at a point where you're quote unquote fully up and running. Okay. We're gonna do it before and after. We're gonna look at the metrics because this is a somewhat business oriented podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We're gonna see how you're doing when you started, and then where you're at 6, 9, 12 months from now.
Beautiful.
We got to see. We got to follow the story. This is going to be freaking awesome.
And you're going to be helping with some coaching and some mentoring, so I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. Oh. In regards to this business? Yes,
yeah,
of course. Yeah.
What we talked about before.
Yep. Happy to help. So, Gabriel, what's like one message that you'd like to everybody in this earth to really understand?
Ooh. Greg, man.
Yeah, I know I'm good. I know I'm good.
Arrow through the Cheerio.
Yep. I gotcha.
The one message just goes back to the point you made. You're not alone. At the end of the day, you have yourself. You've always had yourself. You always will have yourself, and you need to be your biggest fan. And you have community. There is somebody out there that cares about you and wants to see you succeed in any way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And to piggyback off that, I was either talking with somebody or reading a book about that. I don't remember where I got this information. If you're a father, the best thing that you can do for your household is to work on yourself constantly.
Mm.
Well, I'm sure it's safe to say that if you do the same exact thing, that it would also impact your sphere of influence. Right? If you show up in the world, you remove that victim mentality. right? You remove the woe is me. You remove the dick-headed mentality. Whatever it is,
Right.
get rid of it. Then watch the doors open.
Absolutely.
You got to work on yourself first, though, before those things to happen. And that's exactly what you did. You
Yeah.
see that?
And when I started working on myself, there was such a shift in I'm going to say my household, but I haven't lived at home in a while, but my sister got curious and then she went to an event and she called me, which I wasn't in the right mindset to receive what she said, but when it finally landed, it was such a big moment. She's like, "Thank you, you saved me." Which in reality, she saved herself. But I know what she's saying is if I wouldn't have chosen myself and been my big thing is selfish, be selfish with your self-care and be selfish with your love to yourself. And the moment I really chose myself in a positive, selfish manner, it shifted in my family. Now my little sister's curious about going to some of the workshops I've attended. My mom wants to possibly do ayahuasca because she's a Peruvian side of my Peruvian heritage, or the Peruvian side of my family, and I'm half Puerto Rican. And I didn't force them. I didn't make them. They could see that there was a big shift in my posture, in my attitude, and my um just how I just existed. And they got curious. They were like, "Oh, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we like this version of you. This is like the person we saw before the Marines,
Yes.
but
Yes.
even better."
So I'm going to draw an imaginary diagram. I'm going to ask everybody that's listening or watching to envision this themselves, okay? In life, we are subjected to dark energy, negativity, toxicity, terrible people, terrible things, right? And at the same time, we also have opportunity to receive really good things, to receive compliments from people, to watch funny things on YouTube as opposed to drama stuff, to read helpful books as opposed to just trash literature. My point in saying that is that it's like energy. Anything that we consume is energy. And the more positive things that we consume from above, then gets exuded in an outward motion. Why is that? Because you start seeing things differently. And then you might be in conversation with somebody and they will say something that's not very helpful for anyone. But because because you're aware and you're getting that good stuff, well, you can maybe correct that. You can maybe help them look at it in a different way. But it all starts with you. It starts from the information coming in and then exuding it out, right?
Mm.
You've got to seek it.
Right. Yeah. I
You've
had to
got
choose
to
myself.
want it. Choose yourself.
Like really choose myself.
That's right.
And not just spend money on useless things and invest in, I don't want to say useless people, but just invest in people that aren't helping you get better or helping themselves get better.
And mind you this, all this stuff does not happen overnight. Wouldn't you agree?
No. It's been a almost now 3-year journey, yeah.
3 years. You're just scratching the surface,
Mm.
right? And from my personal experience, you could get to the top. You could be riding high and everything's great. And truly, everybody, listen closely. At the flip of a switch, it could all come crumbling down. So be prepared for that. Where do you go if that happens? Where do you go? What kind of foundation do you have? Which is why it's super important to start now. Because if something goes haywire 5 years, 10 years down the road, you got to have that foundation.
Yeah, and the tools. I mean, I have so many tools. Things used to trigger me, and it would be a year that thing ruined me, or I would allow that thing to ruin me to the point now where I have my meditation practice. I have people, friends that I can talk to, converse with, share. Hey, this is what I'm experiencing. Do you have any advice? And it's now I could be triggered. Something that was a boulder is now a pebble.
Right.
Something that would have ruined me for days and led me to go, I'm just going to go to the fucking bar and get trashed. Let me Where am I feeling this? Why am I feeling it? Oh, okay. This is an old story. This is something that's trying to come up and take strength again when I haven't been feeding that wolf. I've been feeding the wolf I want to feed, you know.
Mhm.
There's like what I think Nico's told me, and I don't think he coined this. I'm sure it came from somebody else, but there's two versions of you. There's one that is going nowhere and still doing the same things that it's been doing, or the one that wakes up, meditates, works out, eats right. You know, which version of yourself do you want to be? So I want to be this guy, because this guy is a millionaire. This guy's a billionaire. This guy's helping people. This guy's doing amazing things for himself and for others instead of just for himself.
Yes, yes. And we've heard the term be, do, achieve.
Mm.
Be the person, then do the activity, then go what you want, right? Well, Alex Ramosi, speaking of, he actually reframed that, and I think they both make sense, okay? He reframed it, do, be, achieve. Because let's say, for example, you want to become an expert swimmer, but you never get in the pool and actually swim.
Mm.
Be, I'm going to be an expert swimmer, but never swim? No, you've got to do it.
You got to take action. Yeah.
Get out in the pool.
What does they say, 10,000 hours?
Sure.
And Bruce Lee's like, I'm more afraid of the guy that worked on one kick 10,000 times than a guy that knows 10,000 different variations of various kicks or various, martial arts.
Mm-hmm. Precision. And going off to your point, how you said that it's like boulders, it once felt like a boulder, now it's like a little pebble. And I think what is a testament of that is because you've now got the vision and you're able to see well beyond any of those little pebbles.
Mm.
Clarity is power, right? We've heard that. So you've got the vision. You know where you're going. You wake up, you get after it because you got your purpose, you got your plan, you got everything aligned. Before it was like you were lost, right? You said you couldn't get out of your own way. The blindfold was on.
Mm.
You chose to take it off, even though it was scary, even though it was hard.
It's fucking terrifying,
wasn't it?
Meeting myself, seeing all the negative feedback loop I had been stuck in for years.
Mm-hmm.
Years of just making the same choices. God, universe, source, spirit, Gus. I like to term it that way. Nobody gets triggered.
But yeah. All right, 2025. Yeah.
But, just saying, hey, we're going to see if you really learned this lesson. And I wasn't learning the fucking lesson. And then I finally started learning the lessons, and my life's to be here in this moment right now is such a blessing to take this breath and this breath and this breath when other people aren't able to do that anymore or are losing or on their last breath. Life is long, but it's not at the same time. So I choose to finally start living. I chose to finally start living 3 years ago.
Boom. Gabriel, how do people get a hold of you on Instagram?
At @thevibesdealer_.
At @thevibesdealer_.
So I like to deal the vibes, the good vibes,
Yeah, it's true. You could sense that immediately.
Thank you.
Yes. Folks, this podcast is called the Elite League Podcast because we take people that choose to be the brightness in the dark to share what is good in the world in an abundant level. Gabriel definitely exemplifies that. There's no doubt about it. Any room that he enters, he brings the positive vibes. So thank you so much. And
thank you, buddy.
Let's send him good vibes. Speaking of, for the new project in Tulum, book the space, find it online. The link will be below. And most importantly, folks, make sure you hit that thumbs up, smash that subscribe. And last but not least,
stay fired up.